Hi there, my name's Rebecca Nutley and I'm here today to talk about Avoca Beach and what we can all do to help out with the rubbish that has accumulated on the beach since the recent torrential rain and floods. Did you know there are 10 easy to achieve benefits of taking part in a coastal cleanup to protect our coral reefs? Ranging from making your seafood healthier to improving the economy, cleaning up the coast helps you, your environment, your community and the world, not to mention our beautiful coral reefs. Through my study of marine habitat, conservation and restoration at Envirotech up on the Gold Coast, I've learnt about the huge impact that a simple walk on the beach picking up rubbish can have on coral reefs nearby and even really far away like the Great Barrier Reef and beyond. These recent rains have washed all types of rubbish, detritus and even people's belongings into our creeks, rivers and stormwater drains, and all of that eventually ends up in the ocean. Some of it then washes up onto our beaches and mingles with rubbish that has been left on the beach directly. This is what we're going to clean up at Avoca Beach on the 15th of June. Today I'm going to talk a bit about coral biology and the 10 benefits of participating in a coastal cleanup, especially the urgent need to stop more plastic pollution from harming our coral reefs, and also the specifics of the local cleanup that I'm planning. So let's start with what corals actually are. They're invertebrate animals whose most close relatives include jellyfish and sea anemones. Corals all have a simple stomach with a single mouth opening, surrounded by stinging tentacles. Each individual coral animal is called a polyp, and most live in groups of hundreds to thousands of genetically identical polyps that form a colony. Coral are generally classified as either hard coral or soft coral. There are around 800 known species of hard reef-building coral. Soft corals, which include sea fans, like what divers often see off Avoca Beach, sea feathers and sea whips, don't have the hard skeletons that hard corals do. Instead, they grow strong cores for support and fleshy rinds for protection. Soft corals also live in colonies that often resemble brightly coloured plants or trees and are easy to tell apart from hard corals, as their polyps have tentacles that occur in numerals of 8 and have a distinctive feathery appearance. Hard corals extract abundant calcium from surrounding seawater and use this to create a hardened structure for protection and growth. Coral reefs are therefore created by millions of tiny polyps forming large carbonate structures and are the basis of a framework and home for hundreds of thousands, if not millions, of other species. Coral reefs are the largest living structures on the planet and the only living structure to be visible from space. As we currently know them, coral reefs have evolved on Earth over the past 200 to 300 million years, and over this evolutionary history, perhaps the most unique feature of corals is the highly evolved form of symbiosis. Coral polyps have developed this relationship with tiny little single-celled algae known as zooxanthellae, which live inside each coral, and coral and the algae share resources to help them both get the energy and to survive. These algae are what create the vibrant colours of corals, which the algae create. This symbiosis between plant and animal also contributes to the brilliant colours of coral that can be seen while diving on a reef. It's the importance of light that drives the corals to compete for space on the seafloor, and so constantly pushes the limits of their physiological tolerances in a competitive environment among so many different species. However, it also makes corals highly susceptible to environmental stress. While most of a coral's diet is obtained from the photosynthesis of their algae friends, they can also fish for food too. During feeding, a coral polyp will extend its tentacles out from its body and wave them in the water current, where they encounter small fish, plankton, or other food particles. The surface of each tentacle has thousands of stinging cells called cnidoblasts, and when small prey floats or swims past, the tentacles fire these stinging cells, stunning or killing the prey before passing it to the mouth. Many coral species reproduce once or twice each year. Most coral species spawn by releasing eggs and sperm into the water, but the period of spawning varies from one species to another. When an egg and a sperm meet, they form a larva known as a planula. The baby coral looks like a tiny little jellyfish and floats around near the surface at first, and then in the water column until it finds a suitable space to call home, usually a hard surface to attach to. Other limited distribution coral species are brooders. This is where only male gametes are released into the water, then taken in by female coral animals containing egg cells. Fertilization occurs inside the female coral, and a small planula develops inside it. The planula is released through the mouth of the female coral and drifts or crawls away to settle elsewhere and grow into a new colony. Coral spawning happens at the same time each year and appears to be related to the lunar cycle. This allows scientists and divers the opportunity to observe this magnificent phenomenon along with all the fish and predators that come to feed on them. Even in ideal conditions, reef-building corals are slow-growing. They exhibit a wide range of shapes, with massive corals increasing in size from 0.5 centimetre to 2 centimetres per year. However, under favourable coral conditions, high light exposure, consistent temperature, moderate wave action, some species can grow as much as 4.5 centimetres a year. In contrast to the massive species, branching colonies tend to grow much faster, and under favourable conditions, these colonies can grow vertically by as much as 10 centimetres per year. Coral reefs are found throughout the oceans, from deep cold waters to shallow tropical waters. Temperate and tropical reefs, however, are formed only in a zone extending at most from 30 degrees north to 30 degrees south of the equator. The reef-building corals preferring to grow at depths shallower than 30 metres, or where the temperature ranges between 16 to 32 degrees Celsius and light levels are high. Based on current estimates, shallow water coral reefs occupy somewhere between 284,000 and 512,000 square kilometres of the planet. Cold water, deep coral reefs occupy even more area. If all the world's shallow water coral reefs were crammed together, the space would equal somewhere between an area of land ranging from the country of Ecuador, the low estimate, to Spain, the higher estimate. This area, about 198,000 square miles in an ocean of 140 million square miles, represents less than 0.015% of the ocean, yet coral reefs harbour more than 1/4 of the ocean's biodiversity. That's an amazing statistic when you think about it. No other ecosystem occupies such a limited area with more life forms. Okay, so let's have a look at the 10 benefits of taking part in a coral coastal cleanup. Reason number 1, you save marine animals. We've all seen the dolphins frolicking off the coast at Avoca Beach, and we all wait for whale migration season every year. But I'm sure we've all also seen the sad images of big dead loggerhead turtles washing up since these recent rains, or turtles stuck in six-pack rings, sharks and seals trapped in fishing nets, seahorses holding onto floating face masks, and beach whale stomachs filled with rubbish. As disturbing as these images are, it's even more disturbing to see what's going on beneath the water's surface, and often on a scale that's difficult to observe with the human eye, especially if you're not a regular scuba diver. Rubbish and plastic pollution affect 100 million marine mammals every year, and they don't recognise that a shiny bag is not a jellyfish or a piece of kelp. If ingested, our rubbish can kill, but even if it's not eaten, rubbish can still cause harm. For example, there have been reports of animals with straws stuck in their noses or their heads stuck in plastic bottle rings. The good news, if there's any good thing about this, is that when our garbage washes up onto our beaches, it gives us the opportunity to remove it before the tide washes back out. Removing the rubbish that we find on the beach and appropriately recycling it or getting it to a proper waste dump guarantees that marine wildlife won't come into contact with it. And best of all, the process is simple, easy, and a great lesson for the entire family. Reason number 2, you preserve our beautiful coral reefs. The harm that plastics in our oceans are doing to our coral reefs is of grave concern on both large and small scales. There could be far-reaching consequences, not only for ocean-dwelling species, but for all life on Earth, including humans. Corals actually like to eat plastic, so if it's there, they're going to devour it. A new study based on 4 years of diving on 159 reefs in the Pacific shows that reefs in 4 countries, Australia, Thailand, Indonesia and Myanmar, are heavily contaminated with plastic. And that's where there's a lot of plastic, the coral does not look healthy. Plastic clings to the coral, especially branching coral, and where it clings, it sickens or kills. Once there's plastic clinging to a coral, the likelihood of disease increases from 4% to 89%. This harm comes about because the plastic abrades or scratches and tears open the skin of the coral. And where those scratches occur, bacteria and other pathogens from anywhere can invade into the coral and start an infection that can lead to coral death. There are already billions of pieces of plastic on coral reefs, and we need to stop them from being even more. Reason number 3, you keep toxic chemicals out of the water. While large pieces of plastic waste and abandoned fishing nets are among the visible evidence of the devastating impact humans are having on marine life, even more troubling is what is occurring on a smaller scale. Cigarette butts are the most frequently littered item on Earth, and we've found hundreds of them on Avoca Beach alone. Cigarette butts are small, but they make a huge impact on ocean water. After just 1 hour of exposure, a cigarette butt can contaminate almost 8 litres of water with dangerous chemicals, which means that if you come to our cleanup and pick up just 10 cigarette butts off the ground, you're saving nearly 800 litres of water from contamination. As plastic rubbish bounces around in our creeks, rivers, tides and drains, it's gradually broken down into smaller pieces by sunlight and heat. When exposed to ultraviolet light from the sun, chemical reactions take place in the plastic that lead to severing of big polymer molecules and the gradual degradation of the plastic. Once these plastic pieces become smaller than 5 millimetres, they're referred to as microplastics, and rather than floating at the surface of the ocean, they permeate throughout the water column, which means they're everywhere from the surface all the way down to the bottom. Aside from the hazardous ingredients that are used in the manufacturing process of these plastics, they also absorb oily pollutants during their journey. These concentrated toxins are then ingested by fish and other marine life before being absorbed up the food chain and being biomagnified, which means that a fish eats a plastic, then a bigger fish eats 2 fish that ate plastic, and a bigger fish eats that fish that ate the 2 fish that ate the plastic, and so on, until eventually a human goes out for a nice day of fishing and captures a fish that has eaten many fish that ate plastic. You might be trying to eat fish to get those healthy omega-3 fatty acids, but southern bluefin tuna caught off the coast of Tasmania that were intended for human consumption have recently been found to have many microplastics in their bodies. Reason number 4, you help the local economy. Seaside communities around the world get a huge boost to their economies from both fishing and tourism. These sectors rely heavily on healthy coastal and ocean resources, as well as the aesthetic quality of the environment. When beaches are free from rubbish, tourists and visitors are much more likely to enjoy them and spend money at businesses near those beaches. If the water is clear of rubbish, fishers as well as tourist-oriented businesses like scuba diving tours are more likely to be able to make a solid living for themselves. Our beach cleanup at Avoca next month will really help the local economy and those businesses. Beaches are a diverse, beautiful, natural treasure that are here for all of us to explore and enjoy together. By cleaning up the beach, you ensure that visitors from all over the world can enjoy our beaches fully. Reason number 5, you create a safer environment. Rubbish isn't just unsightly, but it can actually be dangerous. Syringes or metal with sharp edges and pieces of glass can create a public health hazard just as much as an aesthetic one. I'm sure you've all seen footage of the debris that's washed up after these floods, including large torn pieces of corrugated iron and pieces of broken furniture. These sharp pieces of rubbish can easily hide in sand and cause serious injuries. If you see items like this, please be extra cautious when picking them up so as to not injure yourself. And of course, we're going to have a ute with us to transport any large items like this we find on our cleanup to the tip at Woi Woi. The best part is that by participating in a cleanup, is that even though more rubbish will eventually make its way onto the beach in time, we'll be making a difference right now where it counts and leading by example, which can only encourage more people to join in. And on a personal level, I just can't walk naively along the beach and pretend not to see the rubbish under my feet. I believe personally that by picking it up and discarding of it properly, I'm making a difference on a small and a much larger scale. Reason number 6, you can dispose of or recycle waste the right way. One of the beautiful things about doing beach cleanups yourself is that you get the opportunity to dispose of the waste you find in the right way. So many recyclable and compostable items find their way into the landfill where they can't properly break down. When we do our beach cleanups, we separate everything we find and take care to recycle and compost what we can. Reason number 7, you can reason number 8, you get to be outside. Sand between your toes, sunshine beaming down on you, and a fresh sea breeze is our idea of a good time. One of the best things about a beach cleanup is that you get to be outside, see all of the natural beauty of the sea and Avoca Beach, and spend your day doing something wonderful in nature. Reason number 9, you can meet lots of new people. If you visit most beaches around the world, you'll find you're not alone. There are usually lots of people milling about, enjoying the fresh ocean air and the sunshine. Picking up rubbish isn't something everyone does, so you're bound to attract a bit of attention. People will want to talk to you about what you're doing and maybe even get involved. Cleaning up your local beach means meeting lots of new people. And reason number 10, you get healthy exercise. Walking on the beach is actually better for you than walking on paved flat surfaces, as the sand makes it a little more challenging to move. You burn more calories and engage your stabilizing muscles more, and even improve your coordination. Walking on sand even makes your feet stronger. Beach exercise is pretty much the best. So by now, I bet you're wondering how you can get involved. At least I hope you are. The cleanup is going to be on the 15th of June with everybody meeting at the Avoca Beach Surf Club at 9 a.m. You can sign up beforehand at www.mycoastalcoralcleanup.com.au. Signing up in advance means you'll get our information sent to you about what to bring and all the details about how your time will be helping the local coral reefs. On previous cleanups, we've collected hundreds of pieces of rubbish, and we've got photos of these collections as well as our ongoing cigarette butt collection counter on our website. Remember, that's mycoralcoastalcleanup.com.au. We'll continue to add to our cumulative data and keep reporting to marine authorities. If you don't sign up beforehand, you can still turn up on the day at Avoca Beach Surf Club at 9 a.m. on the 15th of June. And we'll make sure you get your rubbish bag and gloves. On the day, you'll need to bring your own tongs, safe footwear, hat, sunscreen and drinking water. We've been supported by Central Coast Council, with them providing rubbish collection bags, gloves and tip fees for us to take our ute to the recycle and dump the unrecyclables. We're welcoming volunteers of all ages, including children, but the cleanup doesn't cover childminding, and parents will be responsible for their own kids, the same as they would be going to the beach on any other day. If it's a bit rainy, we'll still go ahead. If we happen to get torrential rain again, we'll postpone, and we'll post the information as soon as a decision is made on mycoralcoastalcleanup.com.au. If you want to find more information, you can go to the website, mycoralcoastalcleanup.com.au, where we've got frequently asked questions, as well as a form you can submit your questions directly to me if you'd like an answer straight away. We've also got photos and videos that further explain the issues I've talked about today, as well as some feedback I'd love listeners to answer to help me improve my communication. So now you know all the ways that taking part can help you in your local environment, and hopefully you've learned a little bit about coral as well. All you need to do now is go to mycoralcoastalcleanup.com.au and sign up. Today we've gone over the 10 benefits of taking part in a coral coastal cleanup, how plastic rubbish that is left on the coast harms coral, and the details of the cleanup day, as well as what coral actually is and why we need to clean it up. Coral reefs are some of the most diverse and valuable ecosystems on Earth. Coral reefs support more species per unit area than any other marine environment. There's already so much pollution in the ocean. It's great to know that doing one simple day of activity, a group of volunteers can have a big impact on our local reefs. You can also go to mycoralcoastalcleanup.com.au to see some great photos and videos of previous cleanups, so you can see the sort of impact you'll be making. I've also got some feedback questions on the website, and I'd really appreciate if you could send your thoughts my way about my presentation today. Now, does anybody have any questions for me? Question: how long will we be at the beach for the cleanup? There's no time expectation. We'd love people to spend as much time as they are able and willing to give. Usually we are completely done within 3 hours in total though, and that's before we drive to the tip. Question: if there's flooding again that stops the cleanup on the 15th, when will it be postponed to? Our backup date is tentatively booked for the 29th of June, but all updates will be on our website, so check there if there's terrible weather. Question: do I have to clean up then, or can I go the following day? I've got an appointment on the 15th. You can do your own cleanup any time of any day that suits you. If you would like your data to be included in our cumulative data, we just ask that you take some photos of the rubbish that you sort into recyclables, compostables and non-recyclables. Then you can send your image to me via that website, mycoralcoastalcleanup.com.au. All I can say now is that I hope you're a little bit excited about the coral reefs that we've got off the coast here at Avoca, as well as further afield up to the Great Barrier Reef. And I hope you're excited about getting involved in the cleanup at Avoca Beach on the 15th of June as well. So I guess all that's left to say now is please go to mycoralcoastalcleanup.com.au and sign up. And I look forward to meeting you all on the 15th. Thank you.